Hello and good morning if you're based in London, good afternoon if you're based in Asia, and good evening if you're based in New York. My name is Walter Anger. I'm a forex trader specialized in trading the pound dollar during the London Open. So today I'm going to be going over the market for today's trading session as well as for the week ahead. As you guys already know, today is a bank holiday in London, in the UK, in recognition of the Queen's death. However, the markets will still be active today, and I will still be looking for opportunities during the London Open this morning. So starting with the monthly time frame, okay, so the projection is exactly as it was at the beginning of the week, at the beginning of last week, in the sense that I was anticipating for price to either trade below this low and thereafter see a run towards the next buy side target, which is this imbalance on the monthly time frame. So still 11 days left until the close of this monthly candle, but I do see, like last week Friday, we did see the price actually trade very nicely below the low of 2020, right? So I am curious over the next few days to see if we're going to see price to keep on trading below that low, or if we're going to see a very strong rejection and the beginning of a reversal. If we take a look on the weekly time frame, so what I did mention last week, of course, was that price was going to trade into an area of buy side, which is this imbalance, and thereafter anticipating a move to sell side, which is obviously going to be below the low of our monthly range. So we have now seen a very strong move into sell side liquidity. We've now seen a very strong close in an area of sell side liquidity last week. Now the question is, are we going to see a continued run towards sell side, or are we going to see price make a run towards the next draw on buy side liquidity? So for this week, the next draw on buy side liquidity is going to be, so obviously we have this high that was created, but it's not yet a swing high because this weekly candle is still open. So the next draw on liquidity on the weekly is going to be the swing high, the imbalance right here, right? So this is the next draw on buy side liquidity. So I'm now anticipating one of two things. Number one, we can anticipate accumulation within the low of the monthly range, and after an accumulation, we can anticipate price to purge the low of the accumulatory range, and then we see a bullish expansion towards the weekly imbalance. This is a possibility that I highly anticipate. If we go on to the daily time frame, so on the daily time frame, what we can see is, of course, we've seen last week 3 different sessions of price falling. So we've seen, of course, 3 days of price falling into a level, into an area of high volume, which is below the low of the daily range. Okay. So at this point, I am anticipating some form of a bullish reversal. So a bullish reversal is imminent. Okay. So if we take a look on the daily time frame, now the question is, where is the next draw on buy side liquidity? Well, at the moment, the next draw on daily buy side is going to be the swing high that was created last week. Okay, so if we are going to be seeing a reversal, there is a likelihood that we could see price reverse into the daily buy side target, right? This is an area of buy side liquidity, and again, we could see a move towards weekly buy side targets where this imbalance is located. So these are definitely two areas to pay very close attention to over the coming days if we do see a bullish pound reversal. Now going on to the 4 hour time frame. So on the 4 hour time frame, so I'm just going to remove some of our markings from last week just to make this a little bit neater. So on the 4 hour time frame, we've obviously seen from this very high, we've seen number one, this is the initial expansion, a contraction, a secondary expansion to the downside, contraction, and then we've seen that third expansion to the downside. We also have, of course, the creation of a bearish order block right here. So this is something to pay very close attention to, right? So just going to label this H4 bearish order block. Okay, visibility from the 4 hour all the way down to the second, right? So we have, of course, our bearish order block right here. Okay, the next draw on the 4 hour buy side is going to be this high right here. Okay, so you could see this as a set of relative equal high, right? So this is going to be the next draw on buy side liquidity on this specific time frame. And then the next draw on sell side liquidity on this specific time frame is, of course, going to be the swing low that was created down here. Okay, so this would be the low of our 4 hour range. Okay, there we go. right? So this is the trading range that I'm very going to be paying very close attention to see how price responds and reacts around these highs and lows. So there's one of two possibilities. So number one, we could see an expansion above the H4 buy side target and a potential move into the 4 hour bearish order block, right? And thereafter, we could see a rejection of the order block and a potential continuation back down towards the low of the 4 hour range. So if you were to take a look at this picture on a bigger perspective, this would of course look like a massive accumulatory range that is taking place. Okay, so on this specific time frame, we have two very clear range, a range high and a range low. So either price takes out the high first and we see a move towards the low of the range. Alternatively, we could see price take a fall towards the low of the 4 hour range and then we see an expansion to the upside. So these are two scenarios to definitely bear at the back of your mind. Now, taking a look at the 1 hour time frame, right, just to get a bit of a closer picture on what's going on and what could potentially happen over the next days, over the next few days or few hours even, right? So on the 4 hour time frame, the first thing of course to look for is where is the next draw on 1 hour buy side liquidity, right? So the next draw on H1 buy side is obviously going to be this imbalance that remains open right here. Okay, so this would be the high of my 1 hour range. And of course, the next draw on H1 sell side is going to be, so there's two different areas that one could pay attention to. So the first is of course going to be the slowdown here. So this would be the low of the 1 hour range. And the second area is going to be, of course, the swing low down here. So these are two areas that one could pay very close attention to. We could see price trade into the imbalance, and then we could see a fall towards these lows, and then we could see a potential continuation to the upside. Alternatively, notice how price is already traded into areas of sell side, such as this short-term low and this imbalance right here. So price is currently deep within sell side liquidity. So again, we could be looking at an accumulation on a lower time frame, and then we could simply see price slightly take out this low and then followed by a continued expansion to the upside. Now, I am anticipating price to trade to this high. Why is that? Because this is the initial expansion, second expansion that broke structure to the upside. So the next target that I'm anticipating price to trade into is of course going to be, one second, is going to be this high right here. So this is my 1 hour buy side target. So just going to label this as such. Right, so it's the H1 buy side target. So I am anticipating price to trade into this high at the very minimum, and then after price takes out this high, I will be looking and evaluating to see what happens next. Now, taking a look at the 15 minutes time frame, right, what we're now looking for is evidence of some form of an accumulation taking place within this range. So best time frame to look for accumulations, especially before market open, or before the European Open, is the 1 minute and the 5 minutes time frame. So taking a look at this, you should be able to clearly see that price has been accumulating. So this is our low of range and this is the high of range right here. Okay, so this is our accumulatory range. Right, so again, just to make this visible on the minute time frame. Okay, so this is our Asian accumulatory range. Now notice how price hasn't taken out either sides. We've had price come down, create relative equal lows down here before rallying and creating sort of relative equal highs up here as well. So, but notice how the highs and the lows of the range still remains untouched. So these leaves a very, very, very clear bias if either sides get taken out. So if, for example, European Open, price takes out the low of the range and potentially takes out the low of the 1 hour range, then I will be looking for long opportunities towards, of course, our buy side targets. And but in the scenario where I do see price take out that high of the Asian range, right, there are two things that could happen, right? So the first is if there was a bullish order block on, for example, the 5 minutes time frame, then I will be anticipating a retest of the bullish order block and a bullish continuation thereafter, right? The second scenario is depending on how price moves, if it's vector acceleration without any evidence of an order block, so we see price vector accelerates, taking out, of course, buy side, crucial key buy side targets, then I will be looking for a short opportunity instead to the low of the range. Okay, so it depends on how price breaks away from the high. So it could either be a bullish continuation from the order block or a bearish reversal to the downside. Okay. So yeah, so these are the key levels that I will be paying attention to pre-open of the European session and of course open of the London session. Okay, but my general bias based on the 1 hour structure is bullish, right? I am anticipating some sort of a bullish continuation towards the high of the one towards the H1 buy side target as I've delineated right here. And thereafter, we could see price trade into the 4 hour order block and then perhaps a bearish continuation to the downside. So from now, I do say, of course, keep a close eye on the market, pay very close attention to our price is moving. Today is bank holiday, so don't be surprised if price doesn't really do much today, but moves a lot better in New York or even tomorrow morning. So I wish you all a great trading day ahead, and I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow morning. All the best.